A checklist for retirement. Do you have one? I don't, but I tell you, I've heard an awful lot from individuals that I used to work with about the things that they would like to do or have done before they retired. So I'd like to end up talking about some of these items and see what you think. And if you can comment down below, what are some of the things that you want to have done before retirement? So here's some interesting things, some things I never even thought about. An individual that I used to work with mentioned that before they retired, all their appliances were getting old. They were within 2, 3, 4 years range of retiring, and they wanted to buy all new appliances. Sounds good. Sounds smart, right? That was a one I really never thought of. You just figure when they break down, then you go from there. But that was what they were thinking. Replace all the appliances. I've had heard some people that mentioned they wanted a new roof. Makes a lot of sense. If your roof is really old, like I'd even say 20 years range, 20-year plus, and you're within a few years of retiring, you definitely should not retire until you get a new roof on and have it paid for. That's a big cost. Septic systems, I've heard of some individuals, those come on, those, they don't last forever. That's kind of an oddity, but that is one I have even thought about myself that makes me nervous. Big cost that could happen later in retirement. What do you do before that? Could that be on your list? Another thing, driveway. In my subdivision, there has been a few new driveways put in. Don't know if it's because they were getting close to retiring, but if you got a lot of cracks in your driveway, you got some issues, that's probably on your list. Other easy things, windows. If you got really old windows, that could be on your list. That could be a money saving scenario in retirement that you don't want to end up having to mess with because the cost is great. It might be worth to keep working a little longer to pay for the windows. Now, I've even had some people that mentioned siding, and that one I would really question because it really just changes the look of the house a little bit. If you want a new color, do what I did. End up having it painted. Doesn't really cost a whole lot of money. Surprisingly, that stuff will go a long ways. Paint on metal will go a long ways. And so that's something some people have mentioned and thought about. One I wouldn't quite agree with maybe on that one. A new furnace, central air units, those are huge. If they're very old, but if you well maintain them, those are things that you probably can nurse along for a long time, especially if it's not too old. If it's just even 20, 30 years old, you still have a high efficiency furnace. So that one, maybe not. I can see that people would be thinking of that. Everything from all new carpet in the house. I hear that all the time. All new furniture for the last time. Do you really need to replace all the furniture? I don't know. Carpet, if it's gone really bad, animals are a big one. That's what I have, so that's a problem for my wife and I. But if you don't have that, maybe a good cleaning. Yeah, that's a lot of money. A lot of money for that. Landscaping is another big one. They want to do all kinds of stuff in the landscaping area around the house and stuff like that. New shed or just putting up a big giant shed. That is a major cost nowadays. I remember 20 years ago for $200-300, it's 400, 500, whatever, you could get a shed. Now they're like 4 or 5 grand. So that's another one, and these things make sense. If your house is like surrounded by a lot of trees, like mine is, that you get a little nervous about that. There's some people want to work to cut down a bunch of the trees, and that cost could be devastating. If they're huge and they hang over your house and you got wires in the area, this is a very expensive process to have done. So another great thing to have on your list. Hey, have you had any of these on your list? Anything I mentioned yet? You got other ones, things you've been thinking about or things you've heard? Or maybe this is maybe jarred a few things for you? Put it in the comments down below. Other people can see, other people can get an idea of what you might be thinking for this crazy list. Now, other people will have vacations and stuff like that. I'm really talking about in order to get to retirement, that you can eliminate some of the big expenses that I wouldn't say necessarily might just pop up on you, that you can actually, well, no, your roof. If you have a roof that's 20 something years old, it's not going to last 30 years in your retirement. It's impossible. Things like that, things that you can actually predict out in the future to some degree, that these will have to be replaced. And can you do them now while you are working? And so you can stay working until they're paid off. Now, these are just a few examples. I mean, ton of them. A kitchen, a deck. It's endless, isn't it? How about instead of cutting down trees, you want to buy trees to put up. A retaining wall if you have a crazy backyard, you want to do something. A basketball court. Finish off a basement. Add another bathroom. Add another part to the house. I guess one now that I just thought of. That would be, if you're in the financial position and you can do it, is if you had to take in I would say your parents or your in-laws because of age, that's to the point that they can't stay on their own. They don't live in the area. No one's by them. So somebody really needs to try to step up and see if you can do something. That if you had to add a room to your house, a substantial room with obviously a major cost, if you're in that kind of financial position, that's great if you can end up doing that. That'd be something for one to increase the value of your home, and it will be a decision that you won't regret in the long run. You will know that you made the right decision if you can do that. But that one's a little bit different because this is, like I didn't say at the beginning, but this is Jeff at below average. So usually someone's that might be in that below average category feeling, you won't be able to put on a big old addition or do something like that. But that is a nice thought if it's out there. Now, ones in my last few videos that I brought up, that I think are a 100% must. You must before you retire is, one, your home is paid off. You're down to paying taxes and insurance. Completely paid off. You're not worrying, so that part you don't worry about anymore. Number two, no car payment. That is also one that's on people's checklist about retiring with a paid off new vehicle. That would be a nice idea, if that is at all possible. You definitely don't want to go into retirement with a beat up clunker that within a year or two it's going to be garbage. Hopefully try to be in a little bit better position than that. But a paid off car before retirement is a must, and no credit card debt. If you have a list of all these other things and you're trying to do that and carry credit card debt, get rid of the credit card debt first and then go to the checklist. You definitely don't want to have any of those scenarios to play out at the time of retirement. So if you want to go check back at my other couple videos I did, one on are you scared for retirement? You're not alone. I talk about the same thing, some of the same stuff. House paid off, car paid off, no credit card debt, and then another one I had about 5 simple steps to see if you're ready for retirement. And there is also that whole scenario of those things have to be paid off. And obviously, I think on your checklist. For your checklist should be a checklist of a budget. Because if you have a budget and you've wrote down everything you ever spend and you could do it for a year, you will have the most realistic example of what you will need just to live off just daily needs and all the little incidentals that can happen over a year. Now, this still doesn't ever take into account the big things that maybe your checklist will help out on. A roof, a driveway, carpet, all those other things that were already mentioned. That could be great on a checklist that once you retire, those are the things you never have to worry about. And that's completely off the table. No worries, no headaches. But a budget, a must. And then there's a few other things that I know of some people that were in a great position. Everything that was on a list was done. They felt relatively comfortable for retirement. They could retire, but they decided to work a little bit longer because they had thought, well, while I can make some money, I could have a little extra money every month, and they would look at um, doing some charity work, given to some charities. It could be church, it could be just anything down the road. You got Christmas coming up. It could be buying a ton of toys for tots. You might have a family member that you know is maybe struggling with something like that, and maybe a little extra money thrown their way could help, or buying them something, you know, would make a difference. Same thing with the neighbor, especially if it's an elderly neighbor. Maybe there's something you could do there. And that's why some of the individuals, a few that I know that happen to fit in all the right criteria, decided to stay working longer, and they felt physically fine and they liked their job. And they thought by contributing financially, things that maybe they couldn't do for most of their life, that they found themselves in a position now that they can do. And that's a great thing. And the other version would be is if you do retire, you'd have all your checklists taken care of, and you knock them all off and they're great. You retire with no house payment, no car payment, no credit card. The one thing, and you're retired, the one thing you might have is maybe you don't have as much money to do some of these, you know, given money to, and these different scenarios like that, but you do have some time. Maybe it's not money you have to donate. Maybe if you donated your time to something locally for a few hours a week, or donating your time to somebody who is in need of help. They might have physically had a surgery and they can't get to some things around their house or outside, and now you got time and you can go over and do some help. Those are a great thing. If you don't have the money, you might have the time. And either one of those would be greatly appreciated to anybody that you were able to help. Now, as this is the time of the season for a checklist, like Santa has a checklist, you should end up having one too. And maybe even put next to the checklist approximate value so you know what to shoot for. So if carpet's going to cost you $3,000, you know what it's going to be. You know if you can end up tackling it. Can you even physically do it? You might be in the position that you're still just working to pay bills, and it's good to still have a checklist, but you know some of those things you won't be able to do for a long time. You might have to prolong a retirement to be able to do some of these things, or some things you might be, well, you're just maybe willing to live with, um, and you just won't, you know, you won't do it now. You won't do it ahead of time because you financially can't, and that's fine too. But you'll be able to by writing it down, having the checklist, having what you specifically want, putting a price tag next to it. You'll at least be able to determine and eventually figure out, can I or can I do that? Which hopefully will take any form of, if you have anxiety issues, um, you know, or worry issues, you can take that, and at least you can look at that list every day, every week, whenever you want to do, and realize I can or I can't, or I'm working towards it, and you'll end up being fine with it. You can come to the realization if you can or can't, or how long it will take. And that will greatly take away any anxiety or worries that you would have dealing with any of these issues, especially if you're getting really close to retirement. This is the one thing you want to be able to push back and subside on, that you don't want to make a rash or quick decisions because of being worried about it, that you want to have time to think through, think of your options, and be able to apply them, and go from there to accomplish what you want to do. Um, and these are all the things that are these are all simple things that you think about and talk about, but you need to write down. Just like I said in my last few videos, a budget. I want to say it again: a budget, a budget, a budget. Have it down. You put $10 in gas today. You get home, you go to your budget, you put down, I put $10 in. I picked up subscriptions. So with $10, 20, whatever it is, put it down. You stop by and you got a snack. You went through fast food. You bought something. You bought some crazy thing off Amazon. Write it down. Put these things in categories. See where you're spending. See what's going on. Do it for 12 months, And this will be an eye-opener. This was an eye-opener for me. It can be an eye-opener for you on making sure you know where you're at and how much money you spend, and then you can determine what is our absolute needs and what were wants. And there you'll be able to see what it costs, what it takes that you and your family are living per month on. So as you get closer to retirement and you figure out how much Social Security you're getting, you're compiling all your money. If you have a pension or 401, you can see where it's at. You don't want to go, I'm going to retire tomorrow, and you don't have a clue on how much you're really spending per month or what you're going to receive in retirement. You don't want to be in that position. And if you are, some people fall into that when they have unexpected illness, but if they could have started 5 years before that, 2 years before that, 6 months, 30 days before that, a budget with a checklist and all these things that we've been talking about, at least they can look back and say, I understand what I need, where I'm at, and what I need to do to end up correcting if there's any mistakes. So a budget is what you need. This will help. This will solve a lot of issues for you and me. It has done wonders for my family. It has woke me up a little bit to see some of the costs, the small costs, that how they add up, what it takes for an animal. That's one big one for us. You have an animal, they get elderly. There's a lot more costs involved. So we are seeing some of the effects of some of these scenarios to give my wife and I an idea on later on for retirement where we're at. But we get plenty of time right now to be able to see how the numbers fall. So, I'd like to wrap this up for you. So back to the checklist. Please comment, subscribe, hit the like button, and comment down below on what you're doing on a checklist for things that you want to have done before retirement. What are you looking to spend money on? How hard are you having to work to accomplish these items? These things, wish list. It could be a wish list, but please comment down below and subscribe so you can go check out my other videos. They're easier to find if you subscribe. You can just do that. You do that and you can go right to where all my other videos are at, and you can end up seeing on especially the last couple that I've been talking about retirement. As I'm getting a little older, as I know other people are a little older than me, a lot of talk on this subject, and especially with the new administration coming forward, what's the next 4 years going to look like. And there's a lot of people in the next 4 years are going to fall directly into retirement, and there's going to be a bunch more that are going to be getting closer. So this is Jeff at Below Average. Please, again, like, subscribe, comment down below. Let me know what's going on. Even if it's just a checklist for Christmas. You need a little checklist just to get through Christmas on a bunch of purchases. People want to see that. People get some ideas. And maybe they can tweak what they're doing. Hey, just make it, you're helping out. This is part of, you don't have money to give, but you got a little time to help. Comment down below on what you're doing for helping others. Inspire some people. Get people a little out of their comfort zone. Get them maybe pushed into some other volunteer scenarios if they have the time for that, or they can do that, or simple things like money. If you have a little extra money and you can go buy some extra things for Thanksgiving for somebody, great. Go do that. Especially now that stuff's so cheaply on sale. If you buy something for them, buy an extra one for you, and it'll save you $20, $30 down the road. That's money saved. Remember, money saved is money earned. Don't work your life away. Work smarter, not harder. I can keep these going for a while if I have to. But once again, this is your life. This isn't your company's life. This isn't somebody else's life. This is your life. If you worked hard and you worked a lot of hours your whole life, as you're getting closer to this time frame of possible retirement, look at some of the avenues to make some changes for you, your spouse, for yourself. Thank you, and have a great day.